for Monday, April 21st, 2025. Lene, could we get a roll call?
Evanson,
Present.
Bjork, here. Gardner,
Here.
Klecker,
Present.
Lick,
Here.
Morset,
Here.
Toom.
Here.
All right, we've got a lot to unpack tonight. So looking for an approval of the minutes from the UAB meeting on February 17th. Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, minutes are approved. All right, this is the portion of the meeting for public comment. Since we only have 2 city employees sitting out there, I don't think we're going to have public comment this evening. Oh,
Chris,
Kevin?
just a comment on public comment as it relates to minutes. So there have been some discussion over the years about a public comment and what should be recorded in the minutes. And really, we just have to remember that public comment is not going to be dictated back into the minutes. It'll be a general synopsis of who spoke and a general topic about what they spoke about. And I've also suggested to Lene that maybe in the meeting minutes, we can put a link to the YouTube channel. So if somebody really did want to see and hear exactly what was said, they could go back and see it verbatim that where it lives on the YouTube channel. So minutes are a general capturing of events of the evening, not dictation of the events that went down. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Mhm.
All right. So, moving on to new business, item number 2, the resolution recommending approval to award Monarch Paving Company to restore and pave wastewater treatment facility parking lot. Kevin.
Yeah, so Dean Seamuth is here tonight to talk a little bit about that. This project we've been talking about for a while, and it really is blending in nicely with our dryer project and the paving that's being done there by Monarch Paving. So it's really a 2-for-1, and it seems that Monarch seems to be the only bidder on a lot of our projects anyway. But since they're there, it would be an opportunity cost if we were to go out and get somebody else with a new setup fee and whatnot. So Monarch Paving seemed like the logical approach to get this paved, and Dean is going to go over that now.
Very quickly.
I think you have some nice aerial shots. And
We do. We had the drone come down and do some nice aerial shots. Lene put this together for me, so this is my first time seeing it as well. So I believe they're all in your packet. So this is our current parking lot aerial photos. You can see.
they got to get it advanced.
You gotta click it, Dean.
Oh boy, here we go.
It's okay. It's okay. It's just, it's reflecting over there. So, yep, it's okay.
And then that.
There.
Yep.
You just hit the space bar. Does that advance it?
No, it's just he's mirroring the screen. So sorry for the delay. Why is this?
We had a good flow.
Yeah.
It's going too fast. Just slow down.
Here comes Sterling.
You gotta go slower.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Got it. Thanks.
Okay, so here's our aerial shots. As you can see, it's quite wore out. A lot of places, the pavement's basically gone. It's been graveled and patched. So with the absence of the truck traffic that we're going to be getting rid of here with the dryer project, we thought this would be a good time to pave everything. There we go.
So that's an interesting point. As you go next slide, you just said something that's important there, truck traffic. So the question was brought up, like, why are we only doing a 3.5-inch lift instead of a 4.5-inch lift of asphalt? That question has been asked. And the reason is because we are not going to be having the heavy truck traffic we had to haul sludge in and out of the facility. And we've been recommended that 3.5-inch lift is going to be adequate for the loadings that we're going to have. And it'll save us a little bit of money.
Yeah, we did talk to engineering department, and they felt that the 3.5 would be fine, and $31,000 is another big reason why we decided to go with the 3-inch instead of 4.5. What you see here is the 2 separate options. Option 1 is the area around the administrative building and then the driveway in. That is, I don't remember the prices. I believe this one was like 60. Anyway, that's option 1. Option 2 would be to add this green area for another I think this one was, option one was around 22,000 or 62,000. And the green area was another 25 or 30 or somewhere in that neighborhood. For a total of 88, I know that. The reason we're not doing, does this show up on there? The cursor? So the reason we're not doing the area, I guess we'll call it to the west in front of the DAF building, where you see the 1010th Street, is that was recently done with the DAF building project, so it's in really good shape. So we're gonna stop where we stop with the green, and then we're gonna seal coat this down on the bottom to just seal it up so it looks good. But it's in good physical, I mean, there's no cracks, it's in good shape because it's not very old.
So Dean, option one is 50,400 and option two is 38,425 for the.
So that's our plan as far as paving. And I have a video. As Sterling said, I just have to escape. This was the drone, took a little flight to show you what it looks like. Since we have a drone, we might as well use it. There's the geese. So when you get to the T in the road right here, we will go to the right about to the corner of the yellow building. And then it'll take care of all of this. And then this little path right here. And then all of this as well.
Not much debate whether or not that's in good condition or not.
Yeah, it is. And when we talked about the CIP, it's in the CIP, and it was a $60,000 CIP, which it's been in there quite a while for the CIP, then it's been getting pushed out. And right here is where they're going to go to the dryer. It'll start here and go down around the dryer.
So they're now working Monarch, right?
No,
Oh,
not yet.
they will be.
They're going to
then-
be,
This is an addition on to what they're
yes.
gonna be there for.
Right,
Dean,
they're-
can you go back to that? Hit pause with about 10 seconds left. Then we
can maybe
talk-
do it.
There's a couple things that this is related to that.
Well, he's doing that. So they're gonna remove the existing chunks of concrete as well as part of the bid, or how we
They
get
are.
rid of those?
The Public Works Department is going to remove the current
Okay.
as a cost saving.
As you pull that back up, I want to expound on that. This is a big deal. So
I don't know how it.
I've been here
Yep.
12 years, and the type of cooperation that goes on between departments never used to happen. Like, we would never call Public Works to help a utility, or utility would not help another department. That goes on daily now. In this situation here, it is a cost-saving measure. We have some really talented people in the Public Works Department who can operate the backhoes and trucks. They're gonna be able to remove that asphalt for us, and we don't build interdepartmental. It's just it's a cooperation, all hands on deck. As an example, today there was a storm sewer that was clogged. We found out in Shireen we had yesterday. We send the wastewater guys down with a vac truck, unclog the storm sewer, that gets done. There's no bills sent amongst departments. It's just what we do. We have equipment, talented people with different skill sets, and we share that amongst departments and just get work done. So there is no separate bill. So that does save us a lot of money, build out money by utilizing the people we have to get work done. Is it perfect? No, but we think it's pretty efficient, and these guys like to use their skills, like to operate backhoes and drive trucks. So it works out. So yeah, go to the very end of this video. Yeah, and I'll tell you where to hit pause. Keep going, just a little bit more. And pause. Let's go right here. So So straight ahead, Mark, is where they're gonna start paving, for the new part. To your right is going out onto the road, and that is gonna be done in about a year, I believe, with the second and third phases of Oak Hill. And then the path that's gonna go down towards, it was gonna be a road, I think it's only gonna be a trail now, down towards the compost site. We'll be paving that next year with that road. So that is gonna be, we're gonna hold off on that. We talked about doing it now, but we're just gonna hold off and stop at the gate. And then next year, that'll all be new asphalt up to Oak Hill.
This down area right here, this is the part of the dryer that they will be paving when they're pretty much done, is when we're gonna do all the paving, so there's no traffic on it as much, you know. There was a crane down here the other day, and we don't want all that in there when there's pavement, so.
It's kind of like put the carpet in last.
Yeah, so we're gonna pave from this gate for the cost of what you have in front of you. And then this is part of the project, the dryer project itself.
Kevin, what do you mean by compost site?
What's that?
What do you
Yard
mean by-
waste? Oh, so there'll be, next year, I believe there's a road, there was a road, you know, our cold storage is
Focus.
just up the road here?
Okay, we approved that, okay.
Yeah,
so
that
that's
was,
coming
that, yeah,
through.
that's going down. So when that road goes, it's actually, it was gonna be a road. I think it's just gonna be a pathway now.
Okay,
But when that goes through, then we're gonna finish paving from Oak Hill down to our entrance at the wastewater treatment plant.
okay,
So that's when the timing of the, then that'll all be asphalt, new road
yeah,
down there.
okay, thank you.
So, yeah, that's kind of hard for some people to envision how from that road there, it cuts over to where the leaf drop site is behind, kind of by our cold storage.
Yep.
Cuts through. So when that happens, then that'll be
I've
new
completely
street,
lost
new road.
everybody.
Or we're gonna wait for that. Again, we're gonna try to capture, when that paver company is in there, then we'll capture them to finish the road.
Got it.
I've lost everything.
So other than utilizing the different people to remove stuff and
Mhm.
crossfitting everybody, what you said the setup fees were going to be?
Well, I just think if you have,
Everybody going to be there? Is
if
that
you,
right?
that's part of, like, if you have two companies doing it, there might be additional fees or different costs for different companies. And what Dean was saying too, and I think we found out, Monarch gets a ton of our work. And often we go out to bid and they seem to be like the only bidder a lot of times, Man Valley and here. I don't know if they have monopoly on it or what.
Cartel is the word
Yeah,
I
I know.
use.
Oh, geez, I don't know about that, but it seems to be a lone bidder on asphalt, large asphalt projects quite often in town. So that's just what it is. I could be missing
They own the
somebody.
hot mix plant, that's why.
Yeah, so there maybe I'm missing somebody and somebody's yelling at their TV right now going, what do you mean? We've always bid, we never get it. I mean, I don't know, but Monarch ends up getting most of the bids for giant asphalt projects.
You had mentioned that there was seal coating involved. Is that in this number or is that gonna be a separate, I mean, obviously it's a smaller number. Is that gonna be a separate thing?
That is gonna be done by our staff. We're just gonna buy some seal coat and seal coat that little bit. It's not much.
Got it.
It's just this little piece right here, so we were just planning on doing it ourselves.
Got it.
And then once that's all done, Dean's gonna get his rollerblades on. That'll be like a racetrack down there.
And I'm gonna have the streeties are gonna stripe it, parking spots, just to, when they get their striper going at the beginning of the year to work out the bugs. But yes, that would be a good.
No, we continue to try to make this facility nice, and I think another thing on the horizon is the front entrance. You know, we're kind of blending into a residential neighborhood now. We want to take some visual pride in this. I mean, there's a lot of pride behind the gate and what's operated there, but make it look nice. So when you drive down there, you know, there's some trees and maybe a little fancier gate and whatnot, but we want to make it look nice. So
Bill suggested that we run the rubber duck races in this separate, the clarifier to the left, or the oxidation ditch to the left is just clean water. It's got some duckweed on it in this photo, but
real ducks.
we could just turn the mixer on and then we'd go in circles and you could race a few laps around for the, that was Bill's suggestion.
Yeah. So that's the paving project that's in front of you, Chris.
Thank
Do you have any
Dean.
other questions?
Any other questions? I'm gonna stay here for the next one in case you have a question.
All right, looking for an approval for the resolution.
I'll move to approve the resolution.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? No. All right, seeing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Moving on to number 3. And Dean, hey, you're still there.
I
Fantastic.
don't have a presentation on this
All right,
one.
you know what to do, though.
There's some pictures in your packet with this generator for well 4. And I don't know if this is a testimonial to our frugalness of just trying to do more with less, or we should be embarrassed that we're still using a 1940s style generator down there. But it's time. It's time to replace this old generator from the 1940s with a new generator that'll have multi uses. So it'll not only be able to be used for well 4, but it'll also in emergency be able to be moved around and used at lift stations as well. So if we had a major, more serious power outage for a longer period of time, we could use it at well 4. We could fill our towers, fill the system, then we could move it down and get the lift stations cleared out, and we can move it back up to well 4. So it's going to be versatile. And be able to moved around different locations. There's other locations in the city we could move it as well. If we find a specific need, just has to be wired so it'll accept the plug. So, there were some questions also, I think, on the generator, on some of the electrical components of it. Dean, can you talk to about our group about that the cost of some of that wiring was not included in the bid? That's a separate cost of about $8,000 outside of the
Correct.
generator itself.
The cost of to put a transfer switch into well 4 is about $7,500 to $8,000. We had Neo Electric come and give us a cost on that. We did not put it in this project because it'll be an operating expense that we can cover with our budget. So that's why it's not in with this. It would probably be done before we even ordered it. As soon as I get a green light, I'm gonna have Neil come do it, so.
Yeah, and as stated in your memo too, I mean, this piece of equipment still works, and we can continue to make it work, but it is old. Heck, it's coming up on 80 years old, and the parts are really hard to find now. As I said in the memo, we were on eBay looking for parts, so to make it operate, and it's past time, and we'd like to pull the trigger and get ourselves a new generator that'll have multi-purposes within the city.
And this did come up in our conversation of the next 10-year CIP plan. And I had it in the CIP for 2026. And when we were discussing it with finance, they were like, why don't you just go buy it? The utility has money, you can afford it.
We have the cash.
It's kind of an important, urgent piece of equipment that we should probably have. So that's why I'm here today.
Our largest ratepayer, university, and our largest taxpayer, Comforts of Homes, are both served by this. I think we need to make sure they continue to be served.
Yes.
So what is the plan for the old generator? Is there any reason to just keep it as a backup for any reason? Is it worth saving, or is it
I don't think it is.
just
I think it'll
junk?
be.
I mean, it's old.
It'll be probably scrap.
Okay.
I haven't discussed it with mechanics, so they'll take it out and decide if they want to do anything with it. But like Dave, the mechanic, he's like, we can't ever get parts for it. I don't know what we would do with it. So
Right.
It'll probably get removed and.
If we had a museum.
Yeah, give it to the museum. We could have put it with the generators that we had in the old.
Right, those are those were Vietnam era generators. So this is like World War II era generators. I don't think we're gonna go back any more than that.
There is a Vietnam generator sitting at the wastewater plant right now. If anybody wants to bid on it and buy that, it's on the surplus right now.
See, it's a surplus. You get so that might, and also too, I know, and Chris had some questions around this today. You look at this and go, boy, how much of this stuff do we have around in our utilities? Not a lot. We we like to be frugal. We like to be responsible to the ratepayers. We have a lot of handy people who like to make things last. But we also understand that we have a duty to make sure we have water and sewer. And it's time. But we don't have a lot of the stuff around that we're losing sleep over that, oh my God, it's bad. If it's bad, we replace stuff. If we can't get parts, just replace stuff. So this seems a little extreme, but we are being responsible. And I just think moving into the future too, I mean, financially, we're going to try to make trucks and equipment last a little bit longer. We're going to stick a little bit more money into them. Prices of new stuff is going up quickly. We see it in our everyday life. New pickup trucks are $75,000-$80,000 now. I mean, we're feeling that in our utilities. So just like I think we do at home, if we can make things last, if we an extra couple of years, that could save us money in the long run, and we'd be more responsible to our ratepayers. So we'll continue to be frugal but responsible and safe. But we're looking at those things, and this is also a testimony to our people that trying to make things work and not just buy just for the sake of buying. We just don't say it's in the rotation, go get a new one. We'd rather fix it and make it last and get what we can out of it, and we did it here for 80 years with this one.
I think the salesman who sold us this in the 40s probably sold us the pump and the other stuff for the Glen Park pool as well, because we're in the same spot with this.
Right?
But
With
I
just
think
a,
it's something that gets kind of forgotten because you hope you don't ever need it. If the power doesn't go out, I mean, we run it every month. That's how we know that it all of a sudden doesn't run. It'll run 20 minutes and it overheats. So we do start it every month to make sure it runs. And it's getting to the point where we can't now because so that's where it kind of got pushed up.
Here's another question, I think, here, Dean.
I just had a question when it comes to having a portable generator. That means somebody has to go get a truck, hook it up, drive it to the
Right.
well site, hook it all up, and it's 2 a.m.
Yeah. And
What is your guys' contingency after hours on call look like? Knowing that linemen, they always get out of bed. I don't know about wastewater.
oh, we
guys.
do, yeah.
I'm just teasing
We
you.
get out of bed, we get out of, yeah. We had a call Saturday morning, actually. A guy called and said that his water usage is very high. It's been that way for 5 months. And he decided to call Saturday morning, Easter weekend. And the on-call guy went there and they found a toilet leak, so.
See?
But we do
We do.
answer the call, yes.
But you do have a rotation of guys
We
that,
have a
that would
rotation.
be able to go out and handle something like that in the middle of the night. So
And
that
we
was
do,
more
and
my
our
question.
guys respond quickly. It's amazing. These folks that we have are dedicated. It's their deal. They know it. They feel the pride. They get up at any time of day and night, all kinds of weather, and they go respond the best they can. Also, too, that's another good point to make. So I know, Chris, you had a question about, like, if there is an emergency, do we have any agreements with rental companies or whatnot? And we do. So United Rental and ourselves, St. Paul, we have an agreement if there's for emergency rental equipment. So Dean knows a little bit more about that than I do.
What I know. Yeah, I have a phone number and
Yeah, but we do have an agreement in case there's emergency for emergency equipment.
is this pump hooked into the SCADA system, or is it old enough, or Too
no,
old.
it's not.
it's not hooked into SCADA?
So we don't, yeah. It's,
So
only
we
way
don't
this
know.
one runs is we go there and start it.
Oh, you gotta go there and,
Yeah.
is it like a pull start, or what do you?
Well, no, it has a key in it, but that was probably added on later.
So
But
when we put the new generator in, would we hook that up to the SCADA or
yep,
not?
that would be, well, the power outage would go and then we would have to bring this generator there and plug it in.
Okay.
The reason we went with the portable is for the reason Kevin said. It could also be, it's a lot more cost effective than to get a generator mounted in place there. Plus, if we have 2 lift stations out for some reason with power, but all the wells are running fine, we can bring one to each lift station. It's going to interchange. So we would be more diversified as far as what different scenarios we can cover.
Okay.
So that's the reason we went this route instead of just putting a permanent one there.
I have one other question, Dean, just sort of in the event of a catastrophic failure in the city with a massive tornado storm, something like that. Let's say you've got more than one thing down. You said, well, I can go run the tower at Sycamore. I can go fill it, and then we can go do something else. How much time do you have to move stuff around to basically keep
Mhm.
services relatively normal?
So in the event that like everything went down, well 6 has a generator that will fire up and run that. This one will run this. Well 5 has a PTO motor in it as well. We have generally about an hour, hour and a half before our lift stations will start to fill. We can always bring a vac truck to one of those and run that. We can fill a tower, take probably about half an hour to fill a tower, unplug, pull it to a lift station, pump that down. A full tower will last quite a while, most likely, especially if there's nobody doing anything because they're in a catastrophe. So, we have a plan on paper of how we would do everything. So hopefully we don't have to use it, but it would be tricky, but we could do everything we need to do for now.
Yeah, the generator is a big deal. So you have to get the water up and then gravity takes care of itself there, right? You're gonna have water pressure coming out of the towers. So, you could have a major catastrophe unless pipes are broken, your water's still gonna run. Believe it or not, and your toilets will still flush, so.
And the booster for the north tower has a generator as well. So that would fill the north tower.
So yeah, that's something yet. I don't know if people think about that or not. Electricity could be out, but your water and sewer is still gonna work. So,
Yes, sir.
Is this something that was hard to get multiple quotes on, or?
No, we did have another quote from Fabic, the cat dealer. I know his was about $15,000 higher.
Okay.
Thought it was in the packet, but
Yeah, oh, okay, so I must have missed that, thank you.
Considerably higher.
and they didn't include the cables to plug it in. We're
This
gonna
was
get
19, yeah, 119, or, yeah, $10,000 higher.
so the cables are about 10 grand themselves, I believe is what
14.
they're getting. 3 different kinds so we work on all 3 different. We have 3 different plugins. Anything else?
All right, thanks, Dean.
Welcome.
Looking for an approval for the resolution. Can I get a motion?
I'll
Second?
second.
Any further discussion? I think we beat it to death. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Moving on to new business, item number 4, resolution recommending bid for 2025 directional boring contract.
yeah, Wayne's here today. Wayne Cyberling, our electric superintendent. He's gonna come up here and talk about our bid for the directional boring projects, show you some locations and talk about the alternatives and which ones we're accepting and which ones we need to do this year, we'd like to do. Yeah, boring has really been advantageous to a lot of our work. And as they pull this up, I want to talk a little bit about last year's boring out in Ridge, in Woodridge. I can never, 12 years, I can never remember Woodridge. I don't know. And I say, so Woodridge, which is not in the city, which we serve with electric. So last year we did the conversion of that, or the cable replacement. We did a lot of boring out there in Woodridge, and it worked really well. The company worked great, and we are just finishing up Woodridge. We made some getting up on our final elbow connections and terminations with that project, and it's nearing completion. Is that accurate, Wayne?
Yeah, that's correct.
So,
Sorry, it
yeah, I was
seemed
talking
a little
to
low.
fellows doing some final terminations last Thursday morning, actually. We're doing some of the last elbow terminations into transformers and whatnot. But Woodridge is another one of those where when you're able to do boring in neighborhoods, I mean, there's entry and exit pits and some minor disturbances, but overall, it's a lot better for the neighborhood, a lot less disturbing gardens and fences and sheds and everything else that's in mature backyards. So the boring is really a lot kinder and gentler to our ratepayers and the neighborhoods. And we're able to get it done faster and better. So, and then we want to continue that again this year. So we went out to bid, and Wayne, take it away.
Good evening. Yeah, as you can see in your packet, the 2025 directional boring project is here in front of you tonight for consideration. Just going over a couple items. The large map or project locations map is up here on your screen. Just a overview of the different areas that we're going to be touching base with our customers, taxpayers throughout the city. Yeah, as you can see, it's not like a Woodridge project where it's all in one area and dealing with customers. We've pretty much narrowed down those large areas. Now we're into the smaller areas. I'm gonna say we've graduated from the 1970s cable and we're now entering the 1980s. So we're just moving to the next decade of cable that's out there. It's an ongoing project in our CIP that we've been doing ever since I can remember being here. So this is just and it's showing on our outages.
Yeah.
A lot less outages by doing this cable replacement project. So
Let me build on that a little bit too, because Wayne and I talk about this. We always notice in these cable replacement projects, we know about how long cable lasts, and it's amazing that that underground cable in the year we're going to replace it will have several outages. So it's always lined up that we know, like, oh, that neighborhood, we're doing that next year, and we had 3 more outages this year. So that cable has a distinct lifespan, and it's noticeable in our outages because we usually get 2, 3, 4 underground cable failures in the areas we're going to go replace.
knock on wood.
Yeah, we haven't had one.
It's so true.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
almost every year.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I could go over the project list if you guys want me to, but most of it's just replacing either primary cable, a single phase, or some secondaries with it that goes in between equipment from one lot corner to another to feed our residential customers.
Wayne, are you going to talk about the alternate bid for the Division Street? Am I stealing your thunder?
Yeah, you are, but that's okay.
Thank you.
I just wanted to see if there's any questions here first. So with the
Wayne,
different
can
areas.
you, there's a lot of people are probably seeing it. I know I drive by it 3 or 4 times a day, but East Division Street right now is all flagged and they're out there doing boring right now. That was approved in a previous budget, or is that a project that's not the city's?
It's a project that's not the city's. So that's AT&T extending some fiber along
Okay,
East Division Street.
so the public isn't confused by the fact that, hey, wait a minute, how come you're approving it and they're already starting it?
Yep.
That's what I was at.
That looks a lot like what we would do, underground boring,
Yep.
pipe sticking out of the ground, blocking
TDI
roads,
is doing it.
Yep.
So, what's
Mhm.
that?
but not us.
Yeah.
Yep. And just to be clear, that project is going to follow then Paul Avenue out to Glover Road. So that's going to be a continuous project. So not part of the city's project.
Okay.
So,
AT&T fiber.
but yeah. Any other questions before I go to the next slide? Yeah, this is the slide that Kevin was referencing. So this is
Sorry,
on
Wayne.
East Division Street, or I'm sorry, West Division Street. From the West Side School, Apollo Road intersection, out to Dry Run Road. You can see, this is part of the alternate bid in our proposal here tonight. There was something Kevin and I have been chatting about for a while, is getting this area done. That's why we're here tonight, to see
Yeah,
if,
and I had a question around that too, from Chairperson Lick. He was asking like about Man Valley. This is another feeder to Man Valley. He says, well, aren't we prepared for Man Valley coming down Radio Road? We just doing the loop out on Powell Avenue. yes, yes, but this is an additional circuit that we want to bring in, so another 600 amp circuit. And with some of the loads that have been presented to us, that we feel we don't need to get this all the way to Man Valley, but we need to get it to what I'm calling the lot corner and get it out to DeSanctis Park area. So if something does come in, we have another 600 amp circuit that could feed another 8-10 megawatts of power out there if something came that was needed that type of load. So, and if we don't use this in a load, let's say something in big, a substation gets built out there or something, this would connect to that at some point. It'd be another alternate back into town. So either way, it wouldn't be something that would be a waste or something we wouldn't use. We're either gonna use it now in Man Valley in the next 5 years or use it later and connect to something bigger. So it's just another 600 amp circuit that would feed Man Valley. That would be potentially be needed.
Absolutely.
It's too bad we couldn't have done it when the project in DeSanctis was going on.
Right, and that, yeah, we talked about it then, it's just timing. So. And this would be bored, so it'd be less intrusion.
Yep. And this will pretty much stay on the road right away. There's no easements that'll be needed. So it'll be, hopefully straightforward, knock on wood, for the directional boring company to help us tie the loop together. So this portion of the bid includes the cable to be pulled in, the pipes to be installed, a cabinet. So it's relatively, not quite a turnkey, but really close to it. So for our team. I guess I don't know what else to say on this project with what Kevin had to say on top of it. So any questions on our directional boring for 2025?
I do want to point out, if you look in the sources and use table, the piece that we're just talking about, this alternate two, the West Division Street piece, for the $139,141, that will be paid for from electric utility cash. So we talked to Finance Director Josh Solinger on that, and he's very comfortable of using a cash transaction for that piece. So, and then Wayne already has the cable purchased for
Correct.
that, so
It's in
that's
stock.
already been accounted for. So we have the cable on risk.
I can say we had tremendous amount of interest in our project this year. What you've seen here is not even half of the interested parties that didn't put a bid in. So there was well over 13 different companies throughout Minnesota and Wisconsin that were calling about these projects.
Has there been a shift in the industry that there would be, I remember a couple years ago, you barely could get one or two.
Right.
Now all of a sudden you're saying 13.
Yep.
Has something shifted in their industry that's causing the change that they are maybe a little more hungry for work at this point?
Yeah, I think so. I think the fiber conversations that were happening at that time has slowed down in the rural areas. And it's still going on, but not as much and as abundant as it last was. So
Got it.
So Chris, there's two things I think I've seen in the last 7 to 10 years that have really ramped up. One is sewer lining. So sewer lining used to be just a couple groups that did that. Now that gets real competitive. We see a lot of companies that are offering sewer lining services and then also directional boring. And I think those are two business models that if you get the right equipment, every town is going to need sewer lining. Every town is going to need directional boring. So if you have the wherewithal and the resources to open up a boring company or a sewer lining company, which have now become very competitive, by the way, there was a segment in there like, man, we're killing it because this is a great thing. Every town's doing this. Well, now I think there's a lot more of those services being provided by a lot more providers, which is good for us because the bids get competitive, as you can see here. But yeah, those are just two services. Every town's going to need them. Sewer lining is a great thing for communities. You save a ton of money, not very disruptive. Every community has aging infrastructure. And then directional boring for the same reasons Wayne said, fiber is going in everywhere, right? So a lot of companies have equipment and they're looking to use it. And this is a way to do that.
thank
So
you.
a relatively new phenomenon, I think, in the last decade.
Great. Any other questions? All right. Looking for an approval for the resolution.
I'll motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Second. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right. Motion passes. Kevin, it's your time to talk a lot.
Well, I've got a lot of stuff.
I bet you do.
And I like talking about it. Let me get my notes in order. So just I want to answer some other questions that came up today. I know in the West Central Biosolids minutes, there was an expenditure to Donahue and Associates for $33,000 for a dryer study. Well, that board has decided, there's been some uncertainty about with us leaving, what's going to happen with West Central Wisconsin Biosolids with the remaining members and how that's going to look. And I know some have looked into doing their own dryer or not their own dryer. Yes, no. Anyway, they said we need to understand where West Central Biosolids is headed. There was an overall plan, but the plan changed because we're leaving, sizes change, costs change. So they said, let's restudy the future. So they want to get a better handle of what a dryer would cost for West Central Wisconsin Biosolids. So they hired Strand and Associates to do an updated facilities plan to look ahead 5, 10, 15, 20 years for West Central Biosolids. So the remaining communities can make an assessment of whether to stay or go. So that's why we decided to invest in Strand to give an updated facilities plan. So that was in there. Now question was asked. So that's that one. Disconnection moratorium, that just happened, and I believe tomorrow morning, Wayne, disconnection. So this morning, we were down to 31 disconnects notices. There were 95 payment arrangements made last week by our customer service staff. And that number, I didn't get an end of the day number, but I'm assuming it's usually around 10, give or take a couple. So I know they were working hard and people are still here paying at the end of the day. So, and then they do, now because of AMI, Wayne doesn't have to send his guys out to do that anymore. So we can shut them off. So we don't like them shutting off. We do work with every single customer. We hold hands. We get them to the agencies. We help them along. We do allow for payment arrangements. So there's no surprises. And we work those folks work extremely hard on making sure they get caught up. But you spend a whole winter, and some people don't pay for a winter, and catches up with them. And we reached out, I think we had about 700 letters we sent out initially. So, and those go out to people who owed $250 or more. So that's that. I'm just looking at some of the other questions you had, Chris, today. I think I've got most of them. There was a question, Chris, you had about this aquifer report. We did one of those here about 3 months ago. It was called a groundwater availability evaluation report, and that is on our website. So we looked at all of our aquifers, how much water is in each aquifer. We looked at future potential uses for our water. And if you read that report, the understanding is the Reader's Digest version that we're in pretty good shape right now. Again, we know no PFAS in our water system as we know it today. And the system we have, the 3 aquifers we draw from at different levels and different elevations are solid in our community, and there's no immediate concern that we continue to monitor. And that report, again, it's called the Groundwater Availability Evaluation Report, and it's on our website. You can go
And
get
for point of reference,
Yeah.
most communities only draw on one aquifer.
Correct. We have
You
three.
got three.
Three. Yep. So we're very fortunate. We're fortunate in a lot of ways. One is the 3 aquifer thing. One, it's our understanding about the availability of the water. And thirdly, is the no PFAS at this moment. So I'm glancing down one more time. West Central Biosolids, the project they did, the $9.5 million project, that is completed.
0.5, right?
0.5.
Yep.
The 0.5 project, that's completed. So
I guess my question was, Dean's got the 2024 water quality report that appears from a year-over-year basis. Doesn't really seem to change. And more where I was going is that because of our aquifers we understand our aquifers, they're stable, they're all of this stuff, that we're really not going to see a real big difference in our water quality report whether it's
No.
2023 or moving
We
forward in
shouldn't.
the future. I guess that's where I was going.
They
with
do
the
vary a
question.
little bit every year, but it's just natural elements in our groundwater, manganese, iron, things that are naturally in the water. And then on top of that, so again, this is for good general public consumption as well, no pun intended on the water. We do weekly, monthly, annual testing for the DNR. It's rigorous testing of our water systems. So we pay very, very close attention to the water quality. Some people do call in and they'll have discoloration of water. There's several reasons for that, and there's never a black and white answer. It could be something as simple. First, the question we ask them: is this hot water or cold water? Dirty water. If it's hot water, there's a good chance it's a bad hot water heater. So it could be internal. Have you talked to your neighbors? Do they have discolored water? Is it something internal in your house? And we go out and check if we had a fire where the fire department was using a hydrant close by, it could have disturbed some of the sediment in the pipes, could have caused it. So we go through, and Dean's people go out and we have one-on-one conversations with these customers who have concerns and assuage their concern, help them get the water cleared up. But anything in that water is naturally occurring things in the water. So I don't want to speak and say, oh, it's not, people look at it and go, oh my God, it's terrible, but it's stuff that's already in your water. It's just flushed out. So, okay, so let me go through some of the list here. I got a whole bunch of stuff on my table. 2024, the American Public Power Association Safety Award of Excellence. Again, I hold Wayne's folks up high, and Lene helps fill out this annual safety award, and they got the Diamond Award. That is the highest award that is available. And of all the things I'm proud of, a lot of things I'm proud of with our guys and our team, but safety is number one. And we try to have a safety culture. We continue to work on it. Some people are better than others. But this award, this Diamond Safety Award, sets the bar high, not only for our electric department, but I told the water, wastewater, and public works people, watch those guys. Their life depends on it, though, of being safe. And they do a great job. So hats off to Wayne and his crew for getting that Diamond Safety Award. They do a great job. And that should be something that the rest of the departments and all of us espouse to be as safe as they are. And again, then I had to talk, sometimes when you're safe for a long time and you're that good, sometimes it's easy to let your guard down. You just can't let that happen. So there's that as well. So we keep that in mind, and we're always checking in on each other as well. So I'm very proud of them for that award. That's a big deal, and that's number one. Also, the annual benchmarking, Public Power Association benchmarking report that came out. If you saw, is that in the packet that showed the outages? So it's crazy good. So here it is. It almost seems unbelievable, actually. So that's on page 43 in your packet. So the average of all U.S. electric utilities, the average outage time for a customer annually is 149 minutes, which actually in a year, I mean, you're out of power 2 hours in a year. That's not bad. Ours is 13 minutes and 0.08 seconds. That's unbelievably good. So somebody will say, well, I was out of power. It took them 2 hours to fix it. Well, again, this is on an average because 98% or 99% of our customers had no outage. So it's pretty good. And again, so how does that happen? There's a bunch of ways that happens. One is the boring contract you approved tonight. It's replacing old cable. It's replacing elbows and connectors. It's making sure we do pole inspections and we replace bad poles, and we have the right fusing, and we have fusing mechanisms, and we look at our new substations and make sure they're intact. So there's a baseline of having a solid system, and then it's response times. Guys that get up at 2:30 in the morning in an ice storm to come out and fix stuff. There's that. So it starts with a good solid system that holds together in wind, rain, snow, ice, and weather, and load fluctuations. And then it's two responsive people who know what they're doing. So lightning storm the other day, we had a lightning strike over here on the east side of Main Street. took out a big fuse, about 50 customers out. We refused it, went home, about 12 of the customers went out again. One of the fuses was damaged, we didn't know, had to go right back out, fix that, and then they're back in power as well right away, so that, again, I'm proud of that one. Safety, I'm very much proud of, and this is good for our customers, that on 149-minute average, we're 13 minutes. So proud of that one. Consumer confidence report. Dean, you want to just talk to that real quickly? And Dean, tell our group here what's in that consumer confidence report and what that means. That's just a report that's in your packet. It'll also be on our website.
So what's in the consumer confidence report? And what changes every year is our levels, because we do testing throughout the year of our different, I'm not sure what's on it, to be honest. And that gets reported to the DNR. So when we fire up our consumer confidence report, it's already auto-loaded with all of our test results throughout the year. We do add, I think PFAS is in there from last year. It's called the UCMR. It's unregulated contaminants that we test for. The EPA has us test for that every 5 years. They come up with a new unregulated contaminant. Obviously, our wells depths don't change; they're the same. There's disinfection byproducts. Those come from the chlorine. They're a byproduct of disinfecting. Inorganic contaminants, stuff that's organic, non-organic. Radioactive contaminants. This is all stuff that's found in the ground that is in our water. It's not anything that's added to it. It's all stuff that's in the ground. Naturally. Unregulated contaminants, that's our PFAS. We actually did 33 different types of PFAS. We only put the 4 main ones on here. We didn't want 33 different ones. Copper and lead, we're required to test that every 3 years. We have 70 homes that are certified by the DNR to use, and these are homes that are known to have a lead gooseneck, galvanized piping that should have lead in their water, but we want to make sure it's below the level, the 90th percentile. So that's what that is. We are, as you can see, we're well below the action level of 1300. We were at 150. And the action level that's for copper. For lead was 15. We were at 0.88. So that's taking all 30 of them and averaging them to get that 0.88. That's what I have. Nice new picture.
Yeah,
That Lene is diligent. Tim's holding everybody's hand. So, any other questions on that? That's our consumer confidence report.
I just think that's good to have on our website, and it should give our consumers confidence. It's in the bill insert for May, coming out soon.
Bill insert. The consumer confidence report that I do for the DNR is just a generic, very plain report, which we could put in our website. Lene likes to jazz it up a bit and make it a little nicer. So, but if you want me to send you the actual consumer confidence reports, I can. Any other questions?
Lene, did you publish this on the? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Speaking of bills and customers, we were in for a rate case with the Public Service Commission for electric, and that just got approved last week. And that's going to go in effect here in about a month. And I just want to pass this out. You can see, and then when you get this, I'll talk through it. The rate increase was not quite as much. Here, you take this mic and then take one and pass it down. It's a little less than we originally thought. So the overall, as you get this and get it, I'll talk through it a little bit and go high level with you. We're going to also do some public information on this as well. The overall rate increase for electric will be 3.73%, which is a little bit less than we had originally thought. A residential customer will be about 5.4%. So if you're thinking, if you're a $100 a month customer, it's going to be about $105. And that is outlined in the information I gave you too about what you're going to see on their bill on average going up on an average. So 750, oh, here it is. So on the very last, second to last page, you'll look at that one. So an average customer in River Falls uses about 750 kilowatt hours per month. Under the current rates, it's $102.90. So proposed would be a 108.28. So you can see it's gone up about $6. Oh, $5.38.
Kevin, I always think that that bar graph that you used to communicate where River Falls fell
Yes.
with the other communities in the state was real helpful for
We'll
people to get
pull
a-
that out again. We usually get that updated every year. So there's a couple things I want to say about that. I'm really glad you brought that up. So one, we don't strive to be the cheapest. We are not going to be the Walmart. That's not our goal. But with that said, we are residentially much lower than our neighboring investor-owned communities or investor-owned utilities that are neighboring. I do have a report. I will share when I get that updated. I will share that with you and also the public to show that we are less than the neighboring IOUs. What would our residential customers pay by a fairly significant amount, 10, 12% less. So that's a good point. And then I was about, so our goal is reliable, safe, affordable, best value electricity. That's our goal. Best overall value. We could maybe be cheaper, have 3 linemen, slow response times, not as robust as a system. Your outage time was going to be more matching the national average if we do that. So we're proud of the fact we have short outages. We're in the lower quartile for rates, and we have a very safe system. So best overall value is what we're going for. And I will share that, Scott, when I get that. That is also nice to have.
Thank you.
But so this is pretty fresh off the press. So you have that, and you can be armed with that. So now I have another little list. So we just had so I was going to go over the financial reports, but I think that'll be a better spending some time I just did on the new rate structure and Dean CCR financial reports. We're so early in the year, there's not a lot of significance to go over that. It's in your packet. Go ahead, Chris.
Can I back up and just ask a quick question on the
Yes,
safety
please
end of
do.
things?
Yeah.
Just more curious.
Yeah, please.
Knowing the city, especially the line department, has that safety culture. Knowing we have lots of contractors that work in our community, how do we communicate safety to them? Are we monitoring their programs as, during the pre-construction meetings, what's expected when they work in our community? Or I guess sort of what does that look like, knowing you guys work really hard to do it? It'd be unfortunate if another contractor came into town that wasn't as diligent. So just sort of how do we manage that?
We do. It's not as easy, and it is managing them, right? I know Wayne has to get on with the tree trimming group and the boring contractors, reminding them about communicating with customers. Number one, because we do that. We're knocking on doors. Hey, we're going to be working in your neighborhood. We really, I don't know, we may even require them. Door hangers, if you're working in the neighborhood. Engage customers whenever you can. Cones, and make sure the fluorescent's on. And but Wayne and Dean and really coach them up. And I think Wayne wants to say something about this because it's a burn his saddle as well, because our reputation is on the line. So go ahead, Wayne.
Well, it's also working with customers and actually having our team members monitor them as they're doing the work too, making sure they're following the safety practices that we're set our standard to allow them to be safe as well. So that's the standard practices we're moving forward to with our contractors that are in place.
So are you guys currently setting that standard with these guys, or is it something that you're looking forward to doing?
Currently, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And I think it goes across not just electric. It goes across all kinds of different things. I can think of 2 incidences, and I know there's more, One was up in Sterling Ponds when a contractor hit something with a backhoe, and
Mhm.
that contractor ended up having to replace and refix and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the famous jackhammer incident down in the Eco Village.
Oh, yeah.
How that guy ever lived, I don't know, but
Remember both of those very
yeah.
well.
And I'm sure there's tons more, but
Mhm.
In those instances, that stuff, it's hard for us to monitor because
Right.
they're not part of our
Right.
realm, but it's still work done in the city that was being done at the time.
So it's interesting, Scott, because I'm just thinking here, like, we have to monitor tree trimmers and boring contractors and guys fixing, or folks fixing water mains and sewer mains. You know, my biggest contractor management is waste management.
oh, well,
That's daily. Like, we have to do these things or these, but waste management's it's almost every day that we're trying to manage, 7,000 accounts or whatever we have. And if it's not perfect, people call. And I would say this, I don't know if it's ever going to be perfect with trash pickup, but waste management is trying really hard right now. I'll give them that. So
snow removal and garbage are my number 1 and number 2 calls from citizens.
they are, and we feel that too. So we're always trying to manage contractors. That's not always, you just don't turn it over to them and let them run. Out in Dean's, out in our new dryer project, we monitor that every day. We have someone checking out there on site and working with their superintendents and their subcontractors, and those relationships are vital to having good products. But yeah, Adam is out there, and he's out there every day working with them. So no, yes, working with contractors not that easy, but we have high expectations and we try to hold them to that.
Thank you. I think that's just kind of an important thing.
Oh yeah, that is good. Mm-hmm. No. So some fun stuff. We just had National Linemen's Appreciation Day. It was April 18th, and last week we had a little box lunch we had with the linemen just to say thank you to those folks. So I joke with Linnea. These are important things. It's always fun. It's a good excuse to get together with the crews and say thank you. But I call them the Hallmark holidays, right? I mean, you can't keep up, or I can't keep up. But what's that? They're working lunch meeting, but they deserve it. They work hard for it. They get the safety awards and the reliability awards, and they've earned it. American Water Works Association Drinking Water Week is May 4th through the 10th. It's a good opportunity there to point out to our customers. American Public Power Works Association Public Power Weeks, May 18th. Public Works Week is May 18th through the 23rd. Thank you. Yeah, not Public Works Week, not to be confused with Public Power Week. That'll give us an opportunity to thank all of our public works workers. Spring cleanup, Scott Morissette, is May 19th through the 24th. I know that's one of your favorite weeks of the year.
Better than Christmas, don't tell my wife.
4 to 8 o'clock, Monday through Friday, then Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Public Works Building on Benson Street. So I also want to say journeyman apprentice, Cody Krieger, who was a apprentice, is now a journeyman, just passed his test last week before, and his 4-year apprenticeship is over, and I think he got a 96 or 98 on that test. So Cody Krieger is now a journeyman lineman. One more week of school, some minor I's to dot and T's to cross, but he's through the process. And then we did hire ahead. We're expecting a retirement maybe in the next year, potentially. No one's forcing anybody up, but we were indicated that might be losing one. So we hired ahead, and we got a 2-year apprentice, Zach Kitchenmeister, will start on April 25th. We had 125 applicants for apprentice line worker, and Zach is everything we could have hoped for. So he's very engaged. He was here last week on Friday for 3 hours with Wayne and his wife. They were talking about the job and getting a house in River Falls. He is from Frederick area, about an hour and a half north of here, and works for Push Inc. And he'll be coming here at River Falls. They have some family in the area. So we're excited to have Zach, and he'll be starting this Friday. And he's already 2 years into his apprenticeship. So we'll have 2 years, we'll have another journeyman lineman. very excited to have Zach. Also, want to announce the lead water wastewater operator, Tim Rixman, and water wastewater operator, David Painetta, passed their advanced wastewater operator's exam. Tim got a 92 and David got a 98 on those. So that's a big deal. Those guys are really good friends, and I'm sure they're a little bit competitive on that stuff. But both those guys are great guys. We're lucky to have them, and they passed their advanced wastewater operator's exam, which means I believe they could operate the facility. So that's the highest level you can get. So yeah, so the minimum is you got to pass with a 75, but 92 and a 98. That's the kind of people we have. Also, the let me see. Then this is a point scale. Oh, then I want to announce that the wastewater operator Todd Decker, who's newer, a couple months. Levi Myers is relatively new, and Thomas Plukowski passed their groundwater and distribution exams required for the water certifications. And a couple took 3 tests, a couple took 2 tests, but they all passed their stuff as well. So we're getting guys trained up. They're eager to learn. They're passing their tests. Proud of them all. So getting certified in both water and wastewater. And then Mayor Tolman is going to reappoint Chris Lick to the UAB. So Chris reappointed for next term, and he's going to be reappointing Mr. Mark Klecker on the April 22nd meeting tomorrow. And we're excited to have Scott Morissette back. He was appointed by the mayor to be our UAB liaison. So welcome back.
Thanks.
Welcome back. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Nick did a great job, and we're glad to have Scott back. We'll call him a B-back.
Nick moved on to library and I came out of parks. We always shuffle up a little bit and make sure all the council people have exposure to all the different areas of the city.
I know Lene put these live lines. This is MEUW's publications in front of you. And on this one, you can see there's a picture of me. I don't know who got that picture. It looks like I'm yelling at Tammy Baldwin right there in that
Like
bottom
you're
picture.
scolding her.
I was scolding her. But you can see, if you look closely in her eyes, she has her hands together and is clapping. So this was with the APPA legislative rally that was down in Washington, D.C., and the Wisconsin delegation got to get together with our local representatives and our senators. And I got a chance to personally thank Tammy and her office for the $1.6 million that she sponsored for the West Central Wisconsin Biosolids. And when I started talking, I think she was scared. And then when I said Western Wisconsin Biosolids, she's like, oh, yeah. And I said, I just want to say thank you for her hard work and her staff's hard work on that. But they did work very hard, and we were a line item in the budget, line item in their federal budget, and she got that through. So it was an opportunity to personally thank her, and somebody took that picture at the exact right time. So
It doesn't look like she's clapping. It looks like she's pleading for you to be nice.
she was
Just
that a
keep
little
that in
bit,
mind.
a little bit, but it was a direct thank you, and she was
Mostly which
she was happy to be thanked, I think. So yeah, that picture does look like I'm scolding her. It's not quite the signing of the Declaration of Independence, but it's me yelling at Tammy Baldwin.
All right.
Any more questions tonight? Boy, your attention tonight is great. These are some big projects we're working on. There's a lot going on in our utilities. We have all of our employees are engaged. They do care. They're here because they want to be here. It's their system. They can put their chest out and their shoulders back on its success. And if things go wrong, they're going to have to learn from that as well. And they know that, all of them. So we have a great team. We have some great leaders. Lene does a great job making sure everything behind the scenes is put together like these packets. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for all of your hard work. I want to thank you all for your attention tonight. And the questions are all great. And is there anything else?
All right. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
No motion.
Second.
All right. The meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Now I gotta go home and deal with all my emails from Lene.